It's Wednesday, March 16th. Oh, hell yeah. 316 day here on Wrestling Inc. as we are live Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite. So that's what we'll talk, plus all the top news headlines you can find on Wrestling Inc. I'm Justin LaBar. He is Alfred Konuwa. Thank you for joining us if you're doing it so live or if you're checking us out after the fact. We appreciate you there as well. Alfred, how you doing on this glorious 316 day?
Doing great. It's a great day in the world of pro wrestling on 316 day. I thought a very historical and maybe memorable episode of AEW Dynamite, and it's on the eve of March Madness, which is one of my favorite sports things that happens around there. So I think it's a very festive time of the year right now for sports fans.
Yes, 316 day. Austin's new beer comes out. St. Patrick's Day Slam for AEW. We're on the eve of March Madness, where we are quickly approaching WrestleMania. Fast times at Wrestling Inc. High as we all keep ourselves busy. Alfred, of course, on Forbes.com. You can read a lot of great work from him. I'm here nonstop throughout the week here on Wrestling Inc., talking all kinds of great wrestling with all of you. Big thanks to our sponsor, Manscaped. We'll talk about them a little bit later. Before we get into AEW Dynamite, a really big show of Dynamite, a lot that was heavily promoted going into this one. Let's talk about some news headlines. Let's start with some AEW headlines, starting with Joey Janela, Alfred. Joey Janela says he will not be re-signing with AEW. Now, Janela, if you remember, was one of the original talents unveiled when AEW was first announced at that press conference or pep rally, whatever it was in Jacksonville. I guess that was, 2019 now? January 2019?
Yes.
So the pandemic really screwed up years for me. Yeah. But Joey Janela, he's one of the originals, so to speak, of AEW. And for the longest time, he had always said in interviews that he planned to stick around as long as they would have him. But now he's saying no. His contract expires on May 1, and he does not intend to re-sign with the company. So, Alfred, a lot to dissect here. Janela saying he does not plan to re-sign. What we don't know is that his public statement after maybe being informed of, hey, we are not going to re-sign you anyways.
Yeah, the timeline did line up for that explanation in terms of Joey Janela expiring rather than, quitting, because a lot of these contracts, we mentioned 2019, a lot of these contracts were 3-year deals, and this is the end of some of these deals. And at the same time, AEW is bringing in a lot of guys. So you've got to expect some of these talents to be released from their contract, if nothing else, to even out the amount of talent that's been brought in, including Jeff Hardy and some of these newer guys who are there now. So I am not fearful for Joey Janela outside of AEW. He's one of these guys who is your entrepreneurial wrestler, a guy who works with Game Changer Wrestling and has a very big presence on the indies, really built his name on the indies. I was very surprised that AEW didn't completely take advantage of Joey Janela, because he's somebody who I felt already had a built-in following. But if it didn't work out for him in AEW, he'll be fine on the indies because he thrived there.
He will thrive on the indies, and part of me wonders if from day one, if he left some of his heart still in the indies. Now, I know that he was able to still do other things. It wasn't like AEW was not like a WWE contract where you are locked down. Janela still was able to do some other things. But, from things I'd heard, from quotes I'd heard from him, or just, observations, it seemed like maybe, as you said, the entrepreneurial spirit that he is, that I don't know if just it's great. Obviously, it's great getting a steady income if you're working for AEW. But maybe that just wasn't his feel. He wanted, maybe indies is where his mind is at. I think in any which way, this wasn't really surprising to hear. It's not surprising to say the statement Joey Janela is leaving AEW, whether it's because they want to leave or Janela wants to leave or both, because he quickly fizzled out of. Everybody else that was involved in the inception, remained pretty consistently featured throughout their time. In AEW, Janela kind of quickly had gaps of time where he was just not being, and I'm talking about Dynamite. I'm going to talk about all the other, but Dynamite, he was just quickly, inconsistently not there. I don't know if it was a look issue, if it was in shape, if it was trying to find something creatively that was believable with him, or a combination. But I'm not surprised at all to hear this.
Yeah, the writing was kind of on the wall.
Yeah, so Joey Janela, so he will be potentially coming to a town near you, so keep your eye out. Somebody who's not going to be coming to AEW anytime soon, it doesn't appear, Jay Briscoe. Now, the Briscoes have been in the news here for a bit recently. A lot of, talk and internet booking of could they be going to AEW? Are they trying to get a match with FTR? This rich, deep tag division that AEW has developed. So there's been a lot of rumor and wonder, especially with Ring of Honor no longer being around and now being purchased by Tony Khan. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Kind of the rumor was that, not going to be signed, and that even if AEW did want to sign, that maybe Warner Media would be against it. Unfortunately, Jay Briscoe had made some comments years ago, some homophobic, anti-homophobic comments, homophobic slurs is what he had used. And so that kind of has stuck with him. He apologized once before. He's since again is resurfacing, apologizing again, talking about how it was a mistake, talking about how he's grown and matured, thanking those who have been supportive and helped him grow and learn and such. So Jay Briscoe, it seems, everybody, we've all said something we've regretted. It seems like he's, obviously took ownership for it, but it's something, Alfred, in his past that is just not apparently going to leave him alone.
Yeah, and you hate to see it in terms of Jay Briscoe now having to deal with this, even though he's probably in the last 9 years come further than the average person, even in terms of his understanding and his ability to empathize with that community because of what really was probably the worst moment of his career. And so, yeah, nobody's going to sign off on what he says. But since that time, he has come a long way in understanding that. It's very upfront of him to go and apologize again like this. But in terms of ROH now being bought by AEW and to leave the Briscoes out of that because of something that's popping up now, I think would be somewhat of a travesty in terms of their link to ROH. And now when it's getting the second life, them being on the outside looking in for these reasons doesn't really sit well with me.
Well, you mentioned the ROH aspect of it. I mean, we don't know. There's still a lot that's in the dark right now. All we know is Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor. He plans on using it as Ring of Honor in some capacity, but we don't know. Maybe Ring of Honor won't be on TBS or TNT. So what a Warner Media executive might think maybe doesn't matter. Maybe Ring of Honor is just on some other platform that Tony Khan can shield anybody who has a problem with Jay Briscoe and use the Briscoes. I don't know. Jay Briscoe just turned 38. So I mean they're veterans. They're known to that audience. They're I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a yes. You got to have them involved to help usher in the new era of Ring of Honor, or if it's they're in the late 30s, past the prime, past their sell by date. So we'll have to keep a watch and see. But yeah, it's he sounds, when you read or listen to him, he sounds genuine. It does not sound, it doesn't sound like I don't think the Briscoes have a PR team. It doesn't sound like some publicist is writing something for him.
And see, that's the thing. That I feel like people look at what the Briscoes embody in these characters, which are very close to the real lives, and they may want to believe a certain thing about them. And this just gives them all the ammo to believe that, regardless of his certain scenario and how far he's come.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on it, but that's been a topic that continues to linger around as it relates to the Briscoes. Another news story we'll talk about, William Regal. He did a sit-down interview on Talk is Jericho. That's kind of like the routine now. You sign with AEW, you get to do your first tell-all with Jericho.
Exit interview.
Exit interview, exactly. So he got to do a real emotional interview. Now I'm reading the transcripts here. I haven't got to go listen to this, but those who have are commenting saying it's a must listen. It is chock full of information and emotion from William Regal. And basically he's telling Jericho at one point about some health scares he had. First it was something that had built up around his heart, and they had to do work on him there, and then after that led to something else. He goes back in the hospital, and they're gonna have to amputate his leg. They're like, if we don't amputate your leg, you're gonna die in like the next 24 hours. And they call his wife and tell him this. Long story short, they end up getting to somebody else who's a doctor who ends up giving advice of no, do this, and this of what the treatment needed to be, because it was kind of like such an anomaly, I guess, or rarity maybe is the better way to put it. And nonetheless, end of the story, he does not have his leg amputated, and William Regal is standing alive and well with us today. This is a wild story, and it's crazy because it just comes out of nowhere, because Regal, who has been very quiet and very out of sight in his last WWE NXT days since the switch over to NXT, and then obviously hasn't done interviews in years. So this is just like, what else is William Regal have in his closet lately?
Yeah, I cannot wait to hear this interview. I'm like, I've read a lot of transcripts and read a lot of what was discussed on here. this seems like something that is just going to be mind-boggling in terms of this man's life taking so many twists and turns that we had no idea about until around the time he signed with AEW. So this is going to be quite the story. I can't wait.
Yeah, one of the matches I enjoy, a very underrated match. When I was at WrestleMania 17, Jericho and Regal, I believe, was that, and that's a good. It's a nice little cool. I'll be looking forward to hearing these two guys talk, because I have fond memories of that match, that experience, and Regal, of course, at the time, with the authority figure and the comedy and the drinking of the tea and just a lot of good stuff with he and Jericho back in 2001 time frame. So
I really do hope they had this interview over a glass of tea.
I hope so.
Untainted tea, of course, but.
A little bit of English tea. That was your news headlines. You can go to wrestlinginc.com, of course, all day, every day. News around the clock. Wonderful staff keeping you up to date with what's going on there. Of course, love the chat room that is going on. Appreciate that. If you want to get one that definitely is going to make it on here to the show, you can do that super chat money button for Moneybags Raj. Alfred, let's go ahead and get into AEW Dynamite tonight. It's coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. That's going to be real significant when we get to the main event, as it often is with AEW, who books to their geography. But we start out with some six-man tag action as Adam Cole and Red Dragon up against Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Hangman Page. This is interesting. The first portion of the match, Luchasaurus, who's all 6'8", 6'9" of them, he's the one who's on the mat taking all the heat spots from the heels. He's not waiting on the hot tag. That's just completely backwards. Just interesting to see that. Another note in this match is Jungle Boy hits a double Doomsday clothesline, which is pretty impressive to see. But in the end, it's not going to matter there, Jungle Boy, as Adam Cole is going to lower the boom, hit him with the knee, get the pin, 1, 2, 3. So Adam Cole and Red Dragon walk out with their hands raised. Good opener here. A lot of energy. I liked it.
Very good opener. I really like it. AEW's really mastered the art of the six-man wrestling, whether that's a six-man tag or if it's a trios match. Like, they've just done a good job of just converting and moving people in and out. And I thought there were some really good, very creative spots in this match. Very much enjoyed it. And the fact that Adam Cole won, I think, is kind of hinting toward the fact that he's going to get that rematch against Hangman and Page and might win it.
Yeah. I think that's very I think you're right. I think you just can't, again, the crowd is your ultimate barometer, and you just cannot deny, no matter what city, no matter if it's first match, middle of the night, main event, promo match, whatever, Adam Cole's music hits and the people go nuts, and it's not just a music pop. They are still riding and with him throughout the entire match. So I agree. I think maybe that wasn't the plan. Maybe when Hangman Page won, there was a grander plan for him to have it for a longer time. But I think, you got to go with what the audience is feeling. And I agree. I think that's something to watch closely here as we wait until their next pay-per-view in May. Up next, we get Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. William Regal out with Danielson. He's going to go do some color commentary. Danielson and Moxley up against Chuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta of the Best Friends. Orange Cassidy and Trent and Danhausen are all out there to be best friends and support in the corner. But at the end of the day, this is a pretty straightforward, predictable conclusion here, as Moxley and Danielson are going to get the win. The real note, Alfred, comes after the match. William Regal makes his way down into the ring, and just as best friends are limping their way out of here, Wheeler Yuta decides, nah, I'm not done. He gets in the ring and basically gets into William Regal's face, and Regal slaps Yuta. But it was a slap that you have to kind of see this and feel it and interpret it. But Alfred, I interpreted this as Wheeler Yuta kind of submitting his application, if you will.
Me too, but it was very confusing how they pulled this off. And I think by the end, the crowd was confused because they did a good job making Wheeler Yuta look like a star in this match. It showcased him, did a good job. And then when it came to this segment, they played it like he was betraying the best friends. Like, they were going one way and he's like, guys, I'll see you later. Like, he was walking out on him, and the people were really into the idea that he's going to go and join Regal, Danielson, and Moxley. The slap, I thought, was like an initiation. Like, you get slapped just like, Moxley and Danielson did. You join the group. But they slapped him, and then they sent him on his way. Like, so it was very neutral. And by the end, I thought they went from potentially making this guy into something to just completely taking that away. So I thought it was very bizarre how they did this, and I didn't know what to think.
And it should be noted, too, that and I think you're right. I think the live crowd was probably really confused, maybe, if you're there, because they also did not hear what was happening on commentary. And William Regal talked about on commentary, he talked about putting over Moxley, putting over Danielson, and I think maybe Excalibur or somebody asked Regal, like, is there room for more? Like, could these guys like align with a young person and help teach? And William Regal at points was pointing out, look at how Brian kicks him here. Look at how he does this. And, just pointing out all these teachable moments. So that, I think helps bridge then what happens after the match. But yeah, if you're there live, especially this might have been a head scratcher. So I'll tell you what, Wheeler Yuta was not the name top of mind when thinking about who's the first, no pun intended, young buck that they pluck from the AEW roster to initiate and train and teach. So right. I don't know.
And Regal, I thought, was great on commentary to that point. I thought, you're not going to really have to worry about him running along. I know last week was just a unique scenario, but he did a great job speaking in sound bites, getting over the wrestling, just talking up the future of Danielson, Moxley, and himself. I thought he was really good at playing this character.
Yes, William Regal, I agree. I mean, he's always been great on the mic. It's kind of nice to hear him and see and feel him in a very free kind of environment. Like so that was definitely a good well done choice there by having William Regal on commentary. A well done choice is using Manscaped. That's right, gentlemen. Manscaped today, excited to announce that they have launched their ultra premium collection. I got some of the products right here. Don't worry, I have other versions up in the shower. I'm not bringing my entire bathroom here in the studio. They got the entire new ultra premium collection. And believe it or not, they are not just for below the waist. They are not just for the private parts. You need elevated, better hygiene above the waist. That's right. In addition to all the wonderful things they can do for your balls, this all-in-one new skin and hair kit for the everyday man covers you from head to toe. Literally, Manscaped is trusted below the waist. Now trust them above. Join the 4 million men worldwide, 2 of them right here, who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com. And when you use the code WINC20, you will end up saving 20%. Plus, you're going to get free shipping. I mean, that is a hell of a deal. Why would you not? So, again, want to talk about it. You know about the Lawnmower 4.0 and all those wonderful tools that with the advanced skin-safe technology that we've reduces cuts that we've talked about. But now, all new products. They got deodorant. No, not just for balls, but for those stinky armpits. They got that right here. It's got that wonderful Manscaped scent. Deodorant, dries clear, aluminum free, smells like the signature scent, hydrating body moisturizer. If you have tattoos or dry skin like I do, this is great for that. Designed to keep the skin feeling clean, smooth, and smelling fresh. They got the body wash to lather you up, 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner to clean your scalp with one easy step, and plus a free gift, a 3-pack set of the lip balm that's made with ingredients such as vitamin E, peppermint, and eucalyptus oil to keep those chappers moist. People are always very controversial with the term moist. If you listen to audio only, moist.
You said it very suggestively. It's like ASMR with Justin LaBar.
There's a career for me.
I'm telling you.
If this wrestling podcast thing doesn't work out, a little OnlyFans with LaBar ASMR.
Let's go.
So again, all these wonderful products for the shower time, before and after the shower time. Getting dressed is optional, but wear one great scent all day long. Get the ultra premium collection that is hot off the shelves. Once again, save 20% plus free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the code WINC20. Brand new products. Really excited, and we thank them for sponsoring this podcast. Yeah, I mean, look. If you use the Manscaped right, you do all the right things, you listen to Alfred, you have the waiting room in place, and then you deliver, you could be like Veer. Again, if you're on the audio only, you missed all that joke. You missed all the joke.
Veer just put over Manscaped.
That was a big joke and use Monday with Raj.
Man. I did hear about that.
Yeah, thought we carried it over.
That's amazing.
Shout out to Bernie in DC. All right, back to the program. All right, back to Dynamite. So up next we see backstage. Oh, hang on, gotta get the comments. We're going to go backstage right after we acknowledge Michael Martinez, $1.99. Michael, thank you. I don't know if you just were being nice and charitable giving money, or if you wanted to say something. If you want to say something, try to... Oh, maybe this is it right here. When can we see action from Danhausen? He is awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm wondering what his health is. I know that he had got injured in 2021, so I don't know what the status of that is. Obviously, lucky for him, his character is such that, you can get a lot out of him without having to take even a bump. So I'm not sure when we'll see him. I would suspect that they will. We're probably gonna see Danhausen few and far between in the ring. Pick the spots, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, injury or no injury, they really should space that out. And I was actually pretty surprised that Danhausen was able to walk when he debuted, because I don't believe it was too far after he suffered a pretty serious leg injury. But I don't think he's 100% now, but he doesn't have to be. I think he's going to be a star outside of the ring.
I agree. And if you want to see more of Danhausen, actually, my old friend RJ City, RJ City launched a YouTube series called Hey EW, and his first Hey Ew, and his first guest was Danhausen. So there's 6 minutes. If you know RJ, if you don't know RJ, you're missing out. He actually is a professional wrestler, but he'd prefer not to. He'd prefer just to entertain. He's one of the first guys I managed ever. He's a fantastic entertainer. He is Mr. Entertainment by all accounts. Really a guy that deserves a national television platform. So I'm happy that maybe he's inching closer to that here in the U.S. Doing this series on AEW's YouTube channel. So go check it out if you haven't. Very entertaining stuff. It's entertaining 6 minutes with RJ and Danhausen back and forth. All right, well, we get a backstage with FTR and Young Bucks. This is interesting back and forth. First, FTR, of course, being asked about firing Tully Blanchard as a manager. Then the Young Bucks come in quickly, and the Young Bucks say, you can go find the best there is manager ever, but you're always going to be second best tag team here in AEW. More hint to the Hitman, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that was my gut feeling when I saw them abruptly fire Tully Blanchard, and I could see FTR going babyface and having Bret Hart in their corner. It would work, and it's something that they would personally love.
Yeah, and the backlighting behind them was pink. I caught that a little bit. I don't know. Maybe an Easter egg, or maybe I'm reading too much into it. But after you talked about it last week, it really, it's got legs, and I think you're spot on. I think you saw it before I did. I think that's where we're probably going. And as I mentioned last week, if the Owen Hart memorials is quickly approaching, this just feels like it's and then Brett can do a talk as Jericho, and we can find out what the hell his contract status was with WWE.
Brett will definitely do a talk as Jericho. It'll be very entertaining. He will not hold back on that.
Hey, Brett, what do you think about Vince Reno? Hey, Brett, what do you think about Triple H? Brett will have opinions, as Brett does. All right, up next, we get the brand new, newly minted Jericho Appreciation Society. All 5 of them strong in the ring. This starts out with the members of, at this moment, we'll refer to them as 2.0. Just kind of a little promo saying why Jericho is better than they are, why Jericho is so great. So giving some appreciation to Jericho. Jericho then says people in the roster, other than the men standing beside him, just don't appreciate him. He talks about how he's carried people and companies on the back. He created AEW. There wouldn't be an AEW if it wasn't for him. But Jericho then goes on to say, but you know what? You know why all this is true and how I do all this? It's because I'm not a pro wrestler. I'm a sports entertainer. Huge heat, huge reaction from the crowd here of that phrasing of he's a sports entertainer, not a pro wrestler. Then Daniel Garcia gets in his face, but then he says, you know what? I am too. Jericho proceeds to put over his relationship and love for Daniel Garcia. Then he puts over that these guys are going to no longer be called 2.0. That's bad creative. He says we're not into, we're here in the Jericho Appreciation Society. We use real names, and they were Jeff Parker and Matt
Lee. Jeff Parker and Matt Lee.
So you can't have another Matt and Jeff tag team, and so now we're going to call them by their real names. There's only room for one. So now we're gonna go by what are the real names? I didn't even catch the real names.
They're very long, and I think the point of it was just obstructed. I can look this up. I think one of them is Angelo Parker.
That sounds about right. And I think the other one's like Matt, or no, the other one's he was Matt. Chat room.
Matty. I mean, his real name is Matty something. We'll get the names, but
we'll get them in a second. Nonetheless, they're no longer 2.0. They're going to go by their real names. And then Jericho puts over, and Jericho also does say, he references that the way he came across these two gentlemen, formerly of 2.0, is that when they got fired from their previous place, NXT and WWE, that KO, Kevin Owens, of his former best friend Kevin, said, these guys are good. You need to give them a shot. And Jericho invited him into their house, so he says, and now here we are. So. puts over these guys, and then puts over Jake Hager and talks about how they've been ride or die together since 2010. Have had each other's back since the WWE days. Real quick, Alfred, before we get your reaction, so hold your reaction real quick to all this. Let's get a few super chats. Hojo to go Belinsky, $5. Applebee's Alfred, what's the amount it will take to get Devontae on the field? Good signing so far. A little Packers talk here.
Yeah, they're doing fine. They'll get him back out there. He's going to get the $20 million franchise tag, which, I think he is even underpaid getting that. But the Packers are going all in. 2024 is going to be tough for us, but for now, I'm just going to enjoy it, and we're going to beat the Bills in the Super Bowl. It's fully what I expect. Packers over Bills. We're running it back.
Packers over Bills. All right. He's calling it on March 16th.
Yes.
Corey, can Jericho truly turn heel if he keeps Judas? Alfred, I'll let you answer that with your reaction to this promo.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him still have Judas. I don't expect it to last much longer, but if it does, it might be something Jericho does, ironically, as the entertainer. I really do like this group. They are just taking the exact same blueprint from the Inner Circle, where they've got the Goon and Jake Hager in his recurring role, but then they've got a new tag team. Instead of Proud and Powerful, they're going with 2.0, or the artist formerly known as 2.0. And then instead of Samuel Guevara, you got Daniel Garcia, who's going to be the pupil to Chris Jericho. And I think the sports entertainment version of Daniel Garcia is going to be his best version yet, because he is your quintessential professional wrestler where, yeah, he looks good rolling around in the ring. He's got all those technical holds down, but what's entertaining about him? And when they tap into that, he's, I think, going to level up.
Yeah, I mean, look, Daniel Garcia, the 2.0, they didn't mean too much to me at first, but I'll be honest, when they formed the Inner Circle, I knew who Sammy Guevara was. Wasn't sure how he was going to do, especially in a heel group with his look and his size and the way he wrestled. Wasn't sure if Santana, wasn't sure what Santana and Ortiz were going to do. But look, the Inner Circle turned into something that was wildly successful. So I think Jericho just has that Midas touch. He has a good eye for talent. He makes you believe. So, yeah, I think this is definitely worth a shot. Absolutely, for the sake of these guys, and we'll see. Jericho's got a good track record. John L says, Daddy Magic Matt Minard and Cool Hand Angelo Parker.
I think this is just Jericho's heel tactic, kind of subtle heel tactic, to make all these names that don't roll off the tongue that now you have to say when you're talking about him, and it's kind of him like needling the audience. Same with the Jericho Appreciation Society. Like, they could have come up with something a lot catchier, but he just wants as many syllables as possible.
I'm all for that. I think, hey, again, the guy knows how to manipulate an audience, so I'm not going to question it. So there we go. So the Jericho Appreciation Society. So yeah, there it is. We'll see how this develops. All right, we got our title match first of a few here. Wardlow challenging the TNT champion Scorpio Sky. Sky does have at first he's got Paige Van Zandt and her husband out there in his corner. This looks to be like maybe it's going to be more Pat and Wardlow. He starts hitting that powerbomb symphony. Then Dan Lambert is out there. He jumps up for a distraction. As he's got a distraction, that breaks things up. And then eventually Wardlow and the company, they get outside. Wardlow steps up to Van Zandt's husband. Then we got Shawn Spears. He starts coming down the ramp. He's distracting Wardlow while MJF comes in and cuts down Wardlow's legs. So ref doesn't see any of this. Sky ultimately is going to roll Wardlow up. So Scorpio Sky, to our surprise, you and I both thought this was going to be Wardlow's tonight. Sky does retain his first title defense of this TNT champion. So he's going to be championship. He's going to be champion for at least more than a week. So Sky gets the win. And then afterwards, Wardlow, he gets MJF in place. He's ready to attack MJF until finally Shawn Spears jumps into things. And then eventually it's all outnumbered. And we see MJF paying Dan Lambert. So it was a money plot the entire time to ensure Wardlow could not get his hands and tear down MJF and Shawn Spears. Again, surprise, but I mean, it stayed consistent with the stories. So
yeah, absolutely did. And even the chat was kind of talking about the potential of MJF screwing Wardlow, which is something that I could see happen. I just thought that this was going to be the spot that they crowned Wardlow, but I'm very happy for Scorpio Sky. I'm happy for the stable, and I hope that they run with this. Even if the plan is to put the title on Wardlow down the line, they have something with Dan Lambert Lambert's talking. They didn't have Ethan Page there tonight, but he's very talented. I think Paige Van Zant's going to have a lot of energy coming around her. So they've got something with the stable led by Scorpio Sky as a heel champion. They're kind of lacking in that. They've got a babyface world champion in Adam Page. Tonight, Thunder Rosa became another babyface champion, as we'll get to. And with Scorpio Sky, I think they could really fill that void of just having this heel with a really hot stable that's able to cheat his way to victory. So I had no problem with this. I will say the crowd, it just seemed like they were there to see Thunder Rosa win that title because that's a hometown woman, but like let's see Wardlow win that title because this had vibes of Goldberg versus Raven, where those people were just all in, and I think they were convinced Wardlow was winning this match. And I guess that added to the heat of Scorpio Sky, but they really wanted to see Wardlow win this one.
No, it's a good reference to Goldberg Raven. It was a U.S. title, right? It was the match. Yeah, I mean, good reference. I mean, yeah, the people. I mean, they were when he's power bombing, and it looks like it's going to be it. The people were there, and then then within post match when he does get his hands on MJF, and just before that gets thwarted, and it looks like he's going to powerbomb MJF. I mean, the people were on their feet. It was tied for the sound and reaction that ended the show, and then they pulled it away from him. So they're just slow burning this. I mean, they are really going to make us wait to see Wardlow truly get his hands on MJF, and I think a title staying with Dan Lambert's group for a little bit certainly gives them the credibility they need in the pro wrestling realm. So, a lot accomplished here. But I will say too, I did think it as Wardlow's coming to the ring when they you have 2 title matches, and that's advertised on the show real big, and it's like this one's put right there at the turn of the hour. I mean, I did think to myself, okay, it's being put here. If Wardlow was going to win this and he's so hot, wouldn't this be what you put at the end of the night? Right. And then it's like, but then you have the hometown girl and Thunder Rosa, so you have to end with that. So it was a very conflicting situation of what do you do here? Is this really the night to have to do 2 title changes? Do you need to do that on the same episode?
Right, they can still save that one and really save the hometown pop for one person.
So at the end of the night pop, which we'll get to, is 1, and then number 2 is Wardlow almost winning a title and powerbombing MJF. The number 3, a close number 3, has to be the reaction for the Hardy Boys. Boys, or Hardy Brothers. I'm not sure what the fine print is of copyright, but the Hardys nonetheless. Matt and Jeff, their first AEW in-ring tag action as they're going to go up against Private Party. Again, same gear you know them for, same music, same kind of entrance, same offense and repertoire, and the same finish as you would imagine for their debut, as they are going to end up hitting the Swanton. Hardys get the win here. Big crowd reaction after the match. Andrade and the AFO come out, start to outnumber, but then Sting and Darby, they come out to join the Hardys to even up the odds. The Hardys, I mean, this is, again, we can't say it enough. We said it last week. This is a huge asset for AEW to have in their tag division.
Absolutely, and they have the luxury of being able to do a nostalgic version of it with very little changed from their prime years down to their theme music, and they got those, 2008, pick an era where the Hardys either returned or were hot in WWE. That's the type of reaction they got when they're at their peak, and I think that AEW really should be looking into putting the titles on the Hardys, at least even if it is for like a brief transitional run or whatnot. I think Jurassic Express has been very good, but I don't know how long this Hardy kind of nostalgia tour is going to last, and I think they should go all in with it because they do feel like one of the hottest acts in this entire company.
Yeah, do the just like WWE did kind of, but certainly they didn't do it to the fullest because it's just WWE's way of things. Yeah, do that Hardy reunion tour. Let them hit all these towns. I don't know how long they're going to tag for. I don't know how long their active deals are meant to be in AEW. So yeah, do it while it's hot. Not to say that people are going to get bored of them or this is going to wear off, but I mean, I agree. I don't know. The Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are fine, but I don't think I don't think that they're going to put asses in the seats the way the Hardys would as you're going to these towns. And then when you have the Hardys as champions, just all the different potential scenarios of first time, maybe last time situations of, I mean, they've worked the Young Bucks, but never worked the Young Bucks on national television. They worked the Bucks in some Ring of Honor stuff and some independent, but this would be the biggest stage. So the Hardys and the Bucks, and then, you put in the Acclaim, you have FTR there.
Top Flight, that's going to be something.
I mean, there's just so many different combinations of things you can do for straight up classic tag matches or triple threat tags or quadruples, or, oh my God, they might have to call it something different, but a TLC type match. Yeah. I mean, just do it while you have it, while everybody's healthy. Do it all.
So that'd be amazing. I mean, who do you see? Now you have to think about the top 3 tag teams you put in the TLC, which is its own discussion. I like that. I like that idea of a TLC type match in AEW.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You're smarter than I am with this stuff. We'd have to look up and see what WWE has. I'm sure because it's the name of a pay-per-view that they have TLC in the sports entertainment pro wrestling world copyrighted, but you could still just have a match that just has tables, ladders, and chairs and just give it its own name. Yeah. Just call it the AEW, Master Disaster. I don't know. You could just call it anything.
In Spanish, just how they have like the Esqueleto del Muerto or, something like that.
Yeah. I didn't even mention the Penta and Phoenix. Oh, I guess Phoenix hurt, but you could just have tables, ladders, and chairs out there and call it something else, and everybody's going to immediately know what you're trying to do. And absolutely. The endorsement from the Hardys is there. So
ladders, tables, and chairs. Get it. Ladders.
Yeah, just rearrange it.
Yeah,
that can work. That'd be interesting. I'd love to hear people, shout it out on the chat or tweet to this is nasty at Justin LaBar. I'd love to hear there's so many. They're literally I'm here on the fly live without the notes in front of me. There are so many tag teams in AEW. The combinations of what you could do for multi-tag man matches. With high spots and everything is there's probably many that we haven't even discussed. So throw them out there. Okay, main event time. So this is what the show is really built around. The other title match, which is the AEW Women's Championship, and a brand new title belt on display for the victor. First, we get the mariachi band that's out on the stage. Of course, we're in San Antonio, which is the adopted hometown of Thunder Rosa, the challenger, born in I think Tijuana, Mexico, but since living in San Antonio, so she's got a huge hometown entrance and huge hometown pop. And then the champion, Dr. Britt Baker, she comes out. Of course, this is cage match, and it is a traditional cage match in the sense of it is a pinfall or submission. There is no escaping the cage to win, so it's going to finish out with the referee and with a decision. Thunder Rosa, she's got a little 316 on the back of her pants or of her tights, if you notice, and Britt Baker is decked out. Red and black jacket and black and white ring gear, very much inspired by Scott Hall's NWO days. So pretty cool nod of respect from each for both the recently passed Scott Hall and just the iconic Steve Austin and the day that it is. All right, so this starts immediately with Britt just trying to climb the cage and scale the cage. The commentators are pointing out, Alfred, what you can't win that way, and there's no getting out. So this is kind of funny to show that. Of course, she does not have her sidekicks by her side or even at ringside, so she is all by her lonesome. So this is Britt going to get her comeuppance, you would think. She's bleeding early, blood coming early from the doctor. Eventually, Thunder Rosa would also join her in the color department. A lot of stuff going on here, but let's just kind of jump to the go home. We get a really nice super kick from Britt that nails referee Paul Turner. Took it like a champ. So he's knocked out. In that time, we get a big package driver from the ropes on a pile of chairs. Ref gets knocked out. Thunder Rosa, she tries to have a pin. Crowd's counting the 10. There's nobody there. Then eventually, a big package driver from the ropes onto a pile of chairs. Britt is screaming for a new ref. Finally, Aubrey comes out there, but enough time has elapsed from that move and from Aubrey getting out there that Thunder Rosa is able to kick out. She is still alive. Then we see Britt setting up a 2-tier of the chairs ready to be sat on. She's setting it up near the corner, and then Britt and Thunder Rosa scale up from the top rope up to the cage. Thunder Rosa slams Britt's head off the cage. Britt goes flying, and the chairs do not collapse and break. Britt's spine and back bounces off the top chair, and then she just flip-a-doos off of that mountain of chairs. Looks painful as all hell. Still not over until under the ring, I believe Britt grabs it. We get a little sack of thumbtacks in which Jim Ross with the line of the night goes, "Someone tell me why we need thumbtacks under the ring." Which is hilarious because you think about Jim Ross having called like Foley, Taker, Hell in a Cell, and all the different thumbtacks, and he's just like, he sounds like an old man who's been questioning this for 40 years and finally is going to let it out. Why the hell are the thumbtacks under the ring?
He said it took hundreds of thousands of thumbtacks, I'd imagine, but we finally had one thumbtack too many for Jim Ross, and he snapped.
Where in the wrestling ring blueprints are thumbtacks needed for the construction and the erection of the ring? Line of the night there. You got to hear it. Britt drops Thunder on them. She goes for the lockjaw. She's even trying to like bang Thunder Rosa's hand into the tacks, and Thunder Rosa's banging her hand into the tacks as they're in the crossface lockjaw position. So that doesn't end the match yet. Finally, Thunder Rosa ends up hitting a power bomb on Britt on the tacks, which looked painful because of the way she let Britt down. That sets up for the finish, which is a Thunder driver on the tacks. Head first, Britt goes on the tacks. 1, 2, 3. Your new champion, San Antonio, goes banana. Alfred, was this better, or I don't want to say worse, but did this exceed a year ago the Lights Out match?
That's a very interesting question, and that's obviously going to be the comparison. From an emotion standpoint, pure emotion, yes, in terms of the spectacle. In terms of the match, I thought last year's match was better. But, I mean, it's a high bar. It's one of AEW's most famous matches. But this match, I think, did it justice. I think it's like the same difference between Undertaker and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25 and then the following year, where 26 I thought was a great match, but it didn't quite live up to what a lot of people think is the greatest match in WWE history. So I feel like the original was better, but just from an emotion standpoint, making a star, the same way they did for Britt Baker, even though she lost. Last year, they made Britt Baker with that match, and this year, from that mariachi entrance to Thunder Rosa just coming off as a star in this emotional win, I felt like they really made Thunder Rosa tonight. So it's going to be a very historical moment in AEW, I think.
Yeah, and that's where I'm kind of struggling, is that is what was the outcome of last year versus this year. I feel like last year, it certainly brought Thunder Rosa to the AEW game. And I don't even know if she was still yet. I don't even know if she was signed full time yet, or if she was still on loan from NWA. So it was good to bring her to the game, but then in a weird way, I thought that it was like just a further establishment of Britt. Again, somebody who had been there from the very beginning. This one, I do think accomplished. I do think that there was more at stake in this one. It was like, Britt's been the champion now for however long and has this great run. So there was more drama and guessing at the end of it of like what's going to happen, and being in Thunder Rosa's backyard. So I think when we look back, I think the one last year might have been more violent. In all truthfulness, I think last year's might have been more violent, but I think when we look at history, this one's going to matter more. So
yeah. That pop at the end was just enormous, and it was really, you really felt in this match.
Yeah, and TV fan, Dustin, they were really short on time. They were it was 10:59, and one of the ladies wasn't even in the ring. One was outside, and like you could see Ref Aubrey's scrambling to give him time cues, like we got to get this in. But yeah, Dustin does come out, gives a hug to Thunder Rosa, so that was kind of a little nice moment, and Thunder Rosa, of course, going out as champion towards the end here. So big moment for her, and I'm surprised. I didn't think I knew they're in San Antonio, but I didn't think Britt was going to lose. I just didn't. So I'm surprised by this.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. I mean, I just thought, and especially seeing that entrance, it's like there's no way they're beating Thunder Rosa now. It really felt like a coronation.
I was just waiting for like somebody to come out from under the ring, because they just kept making the point of Britt can't get out. You can't get out of this cage. So then I saw the ref bump, and I'm like, all right, now the door's gonna have to be open. Like I was just waiting for shenanigans. So they got me. They got me.
Me too. I'm surprised that Britt didn't have any outside interference.
Brian Barry, do you think Von Miller will last his 6-year, $165 million contract with the Bills? And who would you like, Justin, for your team to pick in free agency? I'll let you with the Von Miller at a 6-year, that's nuts.
Yeah, that's I'm very surprised by that contract. I was thinking there might be a way the Packers could get him for a year, maybe rent him. But I mean, the Bills are going to be scary. That defense is going to be very scary. It was very good last year. I don't know if he lasts that whole contract, but really, if he lasts the next year or two and gets them over the hump like he did with the Rams, he'll be worth it.
How about free agency? I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around Carson Wentz and what I'm going to get out of this. It was funny though. J.D. McKissick, who was technically our number 2 running back, but he's a good hard running back. He's a really good pass blocker. He's really good if he's back there picking up the blocks and giving that quarterback an extra second to throw. J.D. McKissick, it was set that he was going to sign a deal with the Buffalo Bills, who is a potential Super Bowl contender, and then he changed his mind and decided to stay with Washington for the same exact amount of money. I was like, oh my God, miracle!
What? He did. Wow, home field advantage, I guess. He just
that's my win that I have as a Commanders fan. I don't know. We'll see. Carson Wentz shot a new video. He arrived at the facility. Hopefully he didn't hurt himself doing the video. So they learned me this. Austin Heinball. Justin, this is totally random. Are you from Calvert County? I'm from the Pittsburgh area and moved to Southern Maryland, and I heard you talking about Chesapeake Beach. If so, did you go to Northern? I work at PAX. Small world. I did grow up in Calvert County. I now live in Pittsburgh. I started my high school career at Patuxent High School, 9 and 10th, and then I moved to Chesapeake Beach and finished out at Northern for junior, senior year. So,
wow.
Cross. There we go. That's quite the parallels.
You've never crossed paths with Austin Heinberg.
I don't believe we've ever met. He says I'm a huge fan. I don't believe we've ever met, but thank you. So nice. Kind of interesting. Going through the chat room here. What else we have? James Jones. That's not the same company I fell in love with. I guess he's talking about AEW. Interesting.
No. Heartbroken.
Heartbroken. Joey Janela's leaving. Mneko1. Justin Alfred, what are your thoughts on Wheeler Yuta joining Regal stable with Mox and Danielson? Who else would be a good fit for that group? Yeah, like I said, we that was not the first top of mind name, Wheeler Yuta. But I don't have a problem with it. I mean, he's a young guy. I guess let me put it this way: whoever they have, if him and whoever else, I'm interested automatically because we know creatively it's only happening because Mox, Danielson, and then probably also Regal are signing off on, and they see something. This is not a case of a writer's room saying, well, we need to push this guy because this guy's starring in a movie or he's doing a reality show, so we're putting him with you guys. Like, it literally will be kind of handpicked behind the scenes by Mox and Danielson. So I immediately have attention at whoever, Yuta and anybody else.
Yeah, and they did tease. They teased originally it'd be Yuta, Lee Moriarty, and then Daniel Garcia. I'm fine with what Daniel Garcia is already doing with Jericho, so I don't expect him to leave them. But I'd like to see Lee Moriarty maybe incorporated. I don't know what they're doing. I felt like they had a chance to really make Yuta, by at the very least, teasing really strongly that he was going to join Mox and Bryan Danielson. But I think that's what people thought was going to happen. But I don't know if that's all the way what happened.
Send Hook.
Yeah.
Hook defects from his father.
Can you imagine the drama? No, Hook doesn't need a stable. He doesn't even need Team Taz. I mean, they barely put them together.
Yeah, Team Taz. That might be an answer too. If the question there, who else besides you? I just can't get past the Team Taz thing, the FTW title. It has done nothing to help. Brian Cage has been MIA. Ricky Starks has charisma all there, but it just doesn't. This whole Team Taz thing. Hobbs is again, just. There's so much there. I am a CSA. Let's defect Team Taz and let Regal and crew cherry pick from Team Taz.
Yeah. They got to blow this whole thing up. It's like their own division. All the brothers go over there. Keith Lee's there, and then Swerve Strickland goes down there, and now it looks like we're getting that kind of matchup for the Team Taz FTW title. But they really should just blow it up. I like Starks and Hobbs together. I think they maybe could become a tag team, and they'd be a lot of fun in that division, as loaded as it already is.
Yeah. Ricky, Justin, and Alfred, do you think Cross go to New Japan? Wasn't that announced? Isn't that out there? That if he's talking about Killer Cross, isn't he doing some New Japan stuff?
I didn't know. I haven't seen that yet. It might have been announced, but he would be a great fit in New Japan. I think he could be a big star out there.
Ricky, hang tight. Yeah, it looks like I thought I heard this earlier today. Yeah, he looks like he's going to make his New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong debut in Dallas on April 1.
Yeah, April 1st. Very nice.
All right. So that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's good.
Yeah, WrestleMania weekend, so that'll be a good turnout for that.
Yeah, it fits. What else we got here? What else we got? It's Alfred the Third Man. What is this? Peter Baugh, he was asking for more details about the CSR reunion. It's a week from tomorrow. March 24th. Yeah, it'll be live. First time ever. We've, again, all the years we did all the shows, always did them in studio. Then they got, edited and what have you. So this will be the first time we do it live, unrehearsed, whatever. But the important thing is obviously the comment aspect. We'll be able to engage with all of you guys live, and everybody around, US and all around the world can take part of it. So we're really looking forward to it. It'll be live right here across the Wrestling Inc. channels, YouTube, Twitch, whatever you like, and then the audio only will be archived. after the facts. But next Thursday night, we haven't settled on the time. I think it's probably going to end up being 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern, where it's going to settle in the evening. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. I think we can run the gimmick real quick. In case you haven't seen it, we'll do that real quick, and then we'll come back for Alfred and I's final thoughts and your final comments.
Chair Shot Reality.
Chair Shot Reality for one
Night
comes back.
Be live. Oh my God. It's going to be so bad that it's good.
So there you have it. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. And
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. We figured we stopped in December 2018 and look at what so much has changed. The landscape of pro wrestling has changed with Tony Khan coming on and doing what he's doing. We'll be 9 days at that point out from WrestleMania. So it felt like if there's going to be a one night return, this felt like the right time to do that one night. So it'll be a good time. And then on social media, we're trying to relive some great moments. We posted a clip of a promo we did with Doc Gallows, reverting back to his Festus days, and got some other fun stuff with all the great guests we've had in the studio. So a lot of good stuff there. Appreciate all the love, the Chair Shot Reality. Alfred, final thoughts with AEW tonight, Dynamite, and all the different stories that we saw, and again, title change.
Very good show. Felt like a very special show. It had that kind of air of one of those shows that's going to stand out from most of the others. From the main event, even the new direction of Jericho's Appreciation Society. This was that opening promo that he really had to nail to explain why they're together and what we should see in these guys, and he did a great job at that. And I thought the Wardlow Scorpio was a very kind of game-changing angle in terms of where that feud's going, because now we're really going toward Wardlow versus MJF for the first time as a real potential match. So I thought this was a good show.
Yeah, I agree. It was an entertaining show. Kind of the three things coming out of it, I'm watching the closest and storyline-wise, and this is not necessarily in the order, but like we talked about, the Adam Cole, how do they keep playing this in the chase? He said next time he gets Hangman Page, he's going to be champion. So I'm really watching that. They have all the other static going on around them with he's conflicted with the Bucks and with Red Dragon, but even so, I feel like Adam Cole, the days are numbered for Hangman Page. I'm watching that. Like you, I'm watching the MJF and the slow burn that's going to continue. With Ward, is he going to have to go through the gauntlet? Is he going to have to go through all of Dan Lambert's team, and then he'd have to go through Sean Spears until he gets MJF? Certainly, if MJF's paying Lambert, that would be feasible. So I'm watching that and the timing for that. And finally, new AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa. So who is the next woman to step up? Does Britt take some time off? Is she back of the line? Does Britt all of a sudden now start poking the Jade Cargill bear? Hey. I am interested now in where we are now with the women. Now that there's been this title change.
Win number 50 for Jade Cargill should come against Britt Baker. I don't know how long they got this stuff planned out, but I'd like 49-0. She either goes to 50-0 or DMD takes the title, and I think that'd be a good selling point.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Speaking of DMD, Jane Taylor, didn't Britt Baker used to be on CSR? Yes, Britt would come on in studio and guest host for a while she was breaking into the business and training here in Pittsburgh with us here at IWC Wrestling. So yeah, Britt, CSR alum. Her, Adam Cole, all former CSR alum. It's a live show. You've seen how we have people that can pop in and pop out. I've ambushed Alfred and Glenn and Issa with a click of a button. So you never know. Again, it's live. That's the wonderful thing. We always had to get people in studio. Now it's a virtual studio. You never know. So we'll leave it at that. We'll see what happens. But all right, that's going to do it for us tonight here Wednesday night on Wrestling Inc. all across the channels. Alfred, what's going on in Forbes?
I got coverage of AEW Dynamite. Should have some interviews next week. I have New Japan Strong on April 1st. And just tune in for WrestleMania season. It's getting very, very busy. We might have some very exciting debuts in the future in WWE, and I'll be all over that.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm guilty of saying this. We keep saying, we said this on Monday night, the trolling continues, it feels like.
Yes.
We have to just look at facts versus facts. WWE actually haven't said anything that anybody's doing that, they haven't said anything. So this is all us trolling ourselves.
Yeah, the game within the game of whatever's going on with Cody Rhodes is, I think, just as fascinating as what he's going to be doing in front of the camera.
I have to imagine the people that walked out of the Jacksonville Arena Monday night were just so bitter that they sat through 3 hours of Raw thinking they knew how this was going to end, thinking they knew what they could go out and cheer for at the end of the night, and they did not get that.
Yeah, especially in Jacksonville. It's got to hurt.
Yeah. we'll see. I don't know where they're at next week for Raw. They're in Pittsburgh the week after, but I don't know where they are next week. So I don't know. Keep an eye on somebody get a geo tracker on Cody. All right, that's gonna do it. Thanks to all of you. We really appreciate a really active chat. Whether it was a free chat, paid chat, super chat, we love it. Again, if you don't listen to us or don't watch and listen to us live, check out after the fact. I always love it when you tweet us, tell us how you found the podcast or what you're doing when you listen to the podcast. Are you driving to work? Are you ignoring the boss? Are you doing some chores around the house? Are you working out? What is it that we help get you through for entertainment and enjoyment? We really love to hear that. It's just awesome to think about how we're all connecting and working together in these crazy times. And of course, tell a friend. If you know somebody who likes pro wrestling, and just say to them, hey, do you ever check out the Wrestling Inc. podcast? If they don't, just find the best one that we've done. Find a shiny moment and just pull that one up and say, look, this is what these guys do, and girls, and do it. Share, tell a friend, leave a comment, subscribe, all those great things. Love it. Alfred, I'll see you next Wednesday. Everybody have a good night. Tomorrow night, I'm on the Thursday night podcast with Raj and Liam. We're talking randomness, the new Scream movie. I've never watched a Rocky movie. Raj and I both had to watch Rocky 3. That was our homework assignment, and we're going to give our review of Rocky 3 39 years later. So that's going to be riveting podcast material for your Thursday night. Take care.